We're going to talk about Jonah this morning and character. And we don't fail a test. God just gives us the same test until we pass it. You know, I remember when I was first coming to God, and even now, there are so many tests, it seemed like, with God that I failed. But it wasn't like school. I just didn't flunk out of class. I got the test again. Now, I can't say that I was pleased with that. But nevertheless, the same test rolled around again. And then I had similar options to do the right thing. And so that's what I want to talk about this morning, because I think Jonah really exemplifies the idea of God asking us to do something and then us saying no, and then what happens after that. And it might really surprise you. So for those of you who don't know, have you ever heard of the story where the guy gets swallowed up by the big fish? Some of us call it a whale. I don't know what it was. I just know it was a fish big enough to swallow a guy. It's pretty nasty if you ask me. But nevertheless, let's talk about that. I'm going to go to the book of Jonah. And I'm going to read a few verses that I think are key to us understanding everything. And I'll start in verse 1, or chapter 1, verse 1 through 3. It says, "The word of the Lord came to Jonah." Now, how many of us always ask, for those of us who know God, said, "Oh, God, speak to me"? Okay, be careful. The word of the Lord came to Jonah. It said, "Go to the great city of Nineveh and preach against it, because its wickedness has come up before me." But what did Jonah do? But Jonah ran away. And you know, folks, that's all I need to read. But he didn't only just run away. He went in the total opposite direction and ran away. I mean, he just took off. And he went down to Joppa, where he found a ship bound for that port. After paying the fare, he went aboard and sailed to Tarshish to flee the Lord. So God spoke, right? What did he do? Ran as far away as he could. Let me go to verses 15 through 17. This is after Jonah's on board and there's a big storm. And all the guys on the boat said, "Who caused the storm?" And it was found out that Jonah's God was mad at him and he caused the storm. So the guys did this. They took Jonah and threw him overboard. That's hardcore, you know. Blame me for a storm and then kick me out of the boat. It's a little different, you know. Don't do that, okay? Okay, if you want to, I'll talk to you. They took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm. At this, the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. But the Lord what? Provided. It says the Lord provided a great fish to swallow Jonah. And Jonah was inside the fish 3 days and 3 nights. There's a lot of references to the New Testament and Christ and his burial. We won't go that deep this morning. So now Jonah's in the fish's mouth for 3 days and 3 nights. You ever touch a fish? Gut a fish? Stinky, huh? Imagine being inside a fish. Jonah's response while he was in the fish, it's in chapter 2. And really listen to this prayer, because I think we all can at some point in our lives relate to this prayer going on. Except for this part. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord. Praying inside a fish. "In my distress I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the depths of the grave I called for help, and you listened to my cry. You hurled me into the deep, into the very heart of the sea, and the current swirled about me. All your waves and breakers swept over me. I said, I have been banished from your sight, yet I will look again toward your holy temple. The engulfing waters threatened me. The deep surrounded me. Seaweed was wrapped around my head. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath barred me in forever. But you brought my life up from the pit, O Lord, my God. When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord, and my prayer rose to you, to your holy temple. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. But I, with a song of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed, I will make good. Salvation comes from the Lord. Key. Salvation comes from the Lord. And the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah into the dry land. Do you hear some of the heartfelt cries from Jonah at that moment in time? I mean, how many of us have felt like we've went down to the grave and we couldn't get out? How many of us have been so distressed that we felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to give up? How many of us have felt like there's no way in this moment in time I can be thankful? And yet, somewhere along the line, the Lord comes in, touches you in a precious way, and changes your perspective and your thoughts and your attitudes and your ideas. This is what was going on with Jonah. And I need to read chapter 3, verse 1 through 3, because this is very important. This is why Jonah ran. Oh, excuse me, no. This is what happens. Then the word of the Lord came to Jonah, a what? Second time. He didn't fail the test, did he? Go to the great city of Nineveh and proclaim to it the message I give you. Then what? Jonah obeyed the word of the Lord and went to Nineveh. Second time around. Okay, let's talk. Let's have a talk. The word came to Jonah and what? What did the Lord say? Go. Simple. Gave Jonah a task and he said go. And Jonah obviously turned around and ran.